I, 19, lost my father last year to cancer. He left me 90% of his stuff including his family home that was left to him by his dad. It's been in their family for over 100 years. My brother, 34, and my dad didn't have a relationship, but he did leave him 10k. My mom was pissed at the will reading, but since she got 10k she couldn't do anything about it. For the past year me and her live okay together. She went on acting like it was her house like before, which I had no problem with, till in May my brother and his girlfriend, 30, moved in without even asking me. They're messy, entitled, and rude. I told them in July I want them out by September because they don't pay for anything nor wash a dish. In August they announced they were pregnant and my sister-in-law smugly said, "Guess we won't be moving out now." It didn't go down well, but when I told them I wanted them out my mom and brother basically laughed in my face. Well, the past few months have been hell, they've become worse than before, and my mom enables it then demands me to treat my sister-in-law like a princess because she's pregnant. I once had to wait outside McDonald's till they opened to get her a McMuffin. Well, here where I may be the idiot. Because my sister-in-law is pregnant she eats everything she sees, like the cupcakes my friend made me for my birthday, she ate all 6, I didn't even get to try them. I can't even make my lunch the night before because when I go to get it, it will be gone. She'll have a smug look on her face while rubbing her belly, then laugh and say, "I couldn't help myself, blame the baby." If I put stuff in my room my mom will open the door with a spare key, sister-in-law can go through my mini fridge. Well, a week ago I was running late to college, I didn't have time for my breakfast or to make lunch, and I had to go to work straight after, so all I had that day was a bar of chocolate. When I got home I was starving, I made myself dinner. While it was cooling down I went to use the bathroom. I must have been in there for 10 minutes at most. By the time I came out she had 70% of my dinner eaten, and I literally lost my crap. Of course she started crying. My mom and brother started screaming at me for making her cry, making excuses like how she couldn't help it and it was my fault for leaving food around her. Well, I had enough, I told them get out, and just like before I got mocked, but here's the thing. Back in October my uncle offered me a life-changing amount of money for the house. I called him up crying a few days ago explaining the situation. He said he'd buy the house, but he will evict my mom and brother. They of course didn't take it too well, and I have had to stay with a friend. I've been receiving texts and I'm being tagged in multiple posts on social media. I'm starting to think I'm the bad person now. So, am I the idiot for making my mom and brother homeless? Not the idiot. I'm 8 months pregnant, so you can tell her from me that it is not excusable. I love my food, especially at the moment, but being pregnant does not give you an excuse to steal food or act like an idiot. I would say that it's important she has housing sorted as she is going to have a baby who needs shelter, but it doesn't have to be with you. I think it is 100% understandable you wouldn't want to live with someone so disrespectful and rude. First, start the eviction process. No matter what. Second, get an objective appraisal for the property. Your uncle may be giving you life-changing money, but he may also be undervaluing. You need more info to come back with. Third, think about if you want the house. You could still evict them and keep it, it is an option. Lastly, this isn't about food, it's about disrespect and taking advantage of you in your home. You need to establish boundaries. Evict them. Get a lawyer immediately. Your mom invited your brother and his girlfriend to come live with you, and none even bother to consult you. Then, they don't even bother to help out by helping to pay bills, or at the very least cleaning up after themselves. The girlfriend acts like a child. She eats all your birthday cupcakes. She is incredibly inconsiderate, selfish and immature. She can't help herself. She clearly can, it's not like she's going to die or miscarry if she doesn't eat your food. Then, they have the gall to complain when they're being evicted. Legally, you can remove them from your property. The courts will likely side with you. I went out to eat with my wife and her best friend. I don't like her friend because I think she's a very selfish, self-centered, loud, and irritating person to be around, and her friend knows that I hold that opinion about her. There's a lot more to it than that, but this post would be much too long if I was to go over the more in-depth reasons we don't get along. Anyways, because of my feelings towards her friend, they've been having issues within their own friendship. We all decided to go out to eat in order to make things better between us, and while self-admittedly her friend did kind of annoy me throughout, I thought the dinner had gone well. That all changed when the bill finally came. We had already decided to go half on the tip, and while I put $15 down, she thought it'd be funny to pull out her purse and make a heart out of pennies for a tip. I saw that and asked if she was serious, to which she said, "Well, I just don't really believe in tipping." That upset me, so I pulled out my wallet, put an extra $10 down, and started getting up to leave. Her friend said, "What did I do?" And I told her I just don't feel like conversing with a piece of crap anymore, and I went to my car. When my wife came to the car, she began to yell at me. I told her I understood why she was angry, but that some people just don't get along, and that I felt it was best that her friend and I stopped trying to get along. I don't control my wife, and she's allowed to hang out with anyone she pleases, so while I do see why her friend and I getting along would be ideal, I don't see why it's mandatory that we get along for their own friendship to work. Am I the idiot for storming out like I did? Slight, not the idiot. You probably could have handled that better, but your wife's friend is not your friend. If she wants to hang out with her but their friendship is somehow strained, that's on your wife, not you. I don't see why your wife wants you to like her friend so badly, anyways. Also, the pennies thing was a low move from her. My friend used to be a waitress, and when I asked her about that, she says that she would rather the customer just not leave a tip than make her clean all of those pennies off of the table. I disagree with people below saying OP should have quietly covered her half of the tip and said nothing. This friend sounds like a genuinely nasty person who doesn't give a crap about her best friend's feelings, who goes out of her way to create the drama she no doubt thrives on, who lied about planning to split the tip, and who is an idiot to wait staff. She deserved to get called out on this behavior. Could you have handled it better? Probably. Does it make you the idiot? No. You aren't telling your wife she can't be friends with her, you simply don't want to be forced to have to be friends with her, and that's fine. You won't always get along with all of your SO's friends, and your wife needs to accept that. Your wife's friend was a total idiot for paying in coins and adding insult to injury by putting it in a heart. No, you probably shouldn't have said what you did, but honestly, I totally agree with you. That's such an idiot move on her part. I couldn't get myself to make this, and everyone's the idiot here. I have a 14-year-old son, Steve, that I adopted when he was a little under a year old. My son's mom, a pain in the butt that she was, sadly died during childbirth. I am the only mom Steve has ever known. He loves to throw it in my face that I'm not his real mom. That's okay, I still love him more than life itself. I do not, however, love his room. Steve absolutely refuses to clean his room. We fight about this constantly. There's trash on the floor, mold growing on half-eaten food, it straight up smells like something died in there. We have tried grounding him, talking to him, and helping him, but he just doesn't care. I finally got to the point last week where I spent all of Friday cleaning it. During my cleaning process, I took everything out of his room. All he has now is his bed, his dresser, his school stuff, and his clothes. When Steve got home from school, he was screaming at me that I'm not his mom, I had no right to steal his stuff. His dad backed me and took his phone for his attitude lately, and we told him he could do extra chores to earn his belongings back. My sister came over this weekend with Steve still sulking. When she asked about it, I told her exactly what I had done. She's now angry with me, calling me an idiot for treating my stepson like that. Thinking about it, I think we might have taken it a little too far, but I want to stick to my word of him having to earn everything back. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You just took away the items he wasn't treating right. My bio parents would take my door and my sister's makeup when she wouldn't keep the bathroom clean or good grades. I thought they were bat crap crazy, but it worked. The makeup was expensive, and she at 15 years old didn't need it. I apparently didn't require a door, I could change in the bathroom, annoying at the time but good parenting. My stepson began to take apart the outlets in his room and try to check out the electrical stuff. He lost the privilege to close his door for a while. He is not your stepson. You adopted him. He is your son. Whether it likes it or not at this moment. You literally did the same thing that my sister-in-law did to her daughter. The trash bags had all kinds of things in them, and she had to work to earn back each bag on its own without knowing what it had in it. Child Services says kids need clothes, a bed and roof over their head. He can earn the rest. I would recommend taking him to therapy because messiness like that can also be an early indicator of schizophrenia. We literally had to do this with our son. He's 12. Refused to clean the room. You could tell him he can't do anything else until the room is clean, and he would just stay in the room. Sometimes he'd be in there 12 hours over the weekend and make almost no progress. We did all sorts of warnings, incentives etc., and nothing. We honestly needed to grow a backbone. We eventually said whatever you don't pick up by 6 p.m. is going in the trash. He picked up maybe 10 things he valued and we followed through. We actually donated the items. He was furious. But now he picks up his room. We gave away toys, hats, things that others had given to him, and we reiterated throughout all of his complaints that we mistreated him, that it was his decisions that led to his belongings going away. I'm getting married to my fiancée, 26, come January. It's not ideal with the current global situation, since I'm very high risk, but as we've already postponed once and there's no end to COVID in sight, we decided we're gonna take the risk and tie the knot in a smaller ceremony with all possible precautions. Now, ever since I got sick, the reason why I'm high risk, I've always wanted a picturesque wedding. I'm stable, but only looking at another 20 or so years, if COVID doesn't get me first. The pictures of this wedding are very important to me, since they'll last far longer than I will. They'll be a lovely thing for my husband and potential children to look at once I'm gone. It's nothing insane, just people dressed nice, and a color scheme. The ceremony isn't lavish, but I do want it to be cohesive. Since I was enforcing a color scheme, I saw it as only fair to pay for my bridesmaids' dresses. Due to COVID restrictions, it was very difficult to find the right dresses, since I didn't want to risk going to a boutique together. But we made it work. Through lots and lots of back and forth, the bridesmaids and I all picked out matching dresses that fit everyone's tastes. I made extra sure everyone was happy and then ordered the maroon dresses. Everyone got fitted separately and got alterations put down on my tab. Not a word of complaint, just excitement. Today my maid of honor, 27, messaged me saying that she's got the perfect dress for the wedding. Cue confusion. I asked for elaboration, and she said that she didn't like the bridesmaid dress, so she went ahead and bought her own. She sent me a picture and it was a tiny white dress that did not fit her well at all. When I brought up the faux pas, she dyed it flesh-colored with coffee. I told her that she cannot wear that to my wedding, since A. already bought the actual dress at considerable expense, B. I'm not exaggerating when I say it doesn't fit. It's a wardrobe malfunction waiting to happen, C. It looks terrible, she looks naked wearing it, and I do not want that in my wedding photos. I was very frustrated, since she had not once told me she didn't like the dress, and I'd already spent the non-refundable money. I tried to compromise with her, seeing if she'd wear something else at least in the same color as the other bridesmaids, but she brushed it off. I then told her that she can wear the agreed upon dress or pay me back for it. She blew up at me, calling me a Bridezilla for being controlling and unsympathetic to a college student. She said that if I'm going to be this obsessive, then I'm better off not getting married at all, since I'll drive my fiancé away. I got so angry I just coldly told her not to come to the wedding at all and then hung up. Am I the idiot? It is just a dress. I totally thought this would go the other way, and I was going to point out how hurt I was that my maid of honor decided not to come a week before my wedding. She said it was her mental health, and I sympathized, but not long after she went backpacking around India. But your maid of honor is trying to make herself the center of attention. If she let you pay for her dress when she didn't like it so she could pull this stunt, then she doesn't deserve to go to your wedding. Not the idiot, find someone else to wear her dress. Not the idiot. You're not a bridezilla. Bridesmaid dresses can be super expensive and you were paying for them. She should have been grateful that she had one available to her that didn't come from her own pocket. You tried to compromise with her, but she was stubborn. It's your wedding, and she should have said something a lot sooner if she wasn't satisfied with the dress. Let her stay kicked out of the wedding. If she won't admit that this snafu was her fault and concede to wear the dress you already paid for specifically for her, then she can pout at home about it. How are you being unsympathetic to a broke college student by buying her the maid of honor dress in the first place? Also, there is something really weird about her buying a white dress to wear to your wedding. Had she been planning on dyeing it flesh-colored and just showed you the original? Or was she planning on wearing it as is? My mind is just buzzing with possible reasons why she thought it would be a good reason to wear white to your wedding. You gave her plenty of opportunity to have a say in the dress before you bought it. She didn't say anything, so either she was pretending then, or something happened to make her want to change up the dress. I had a date with a girl, we had been messaging back and forth for a couple of weeks, and I said we should meet and get to know each other, she agreed, and we set a time and place. We met outside and made our way in together making small talk, we got to our table, and the conversation flowed. It looked like it was going good, the topic got on to previous dates we had, mainly the bad ones. She said she had quite bad luck with dates and guys being only after one thing. She then made the comment, "I hope just because you're buying dinner, you don't expect me to sleep with you." I was a little taken aback with that and said no, of course not. She just rolled her eyes. We got back to normal conversation for a bit, but I have to admit that after those comments I was put off her. The date carried on, but the vibe was dead, and I wasn't interested in seeing her again or carrying on any kind relationship. When the check came, I put down my card and the server brought over the machine. I gave him my card and said to split the check. She looked surprised at me and started to reach for her bag. She asked the server if he could give us a minute. When looking in her bag, she angrily said, "I thought you were paying." I kind of sarcastically replied, "Just because I asked you out you shouldn't expect that I would buy you dinner. If looks could kill, I'd be dead." She mumbled that I was an idiot and pulled her card out. We left quickly after that and went our separate ways. I told a friend this and she said I was an idiot for doing that as I asked her out. I said I just followed her rules by not to expect anything. Am I the idiot here? You're the idiot. Not because you wanted to split the check. For thinking what she said was rude and treating it as a personal attack. I don't think those daggers she was staring at you were because she had to pay for herself. I think they came from the implication that you were making her pay because she didn't want to make love with you, proving the idea that you may think if you pay she owes you. Do you not see how pulling that last second, with your snarky comment, comes across as you only being on a date for love? Your sarcasm at the end pushed it out of everyone's the idiot territory. I completely agree that she was rude and presumptuous. There were ways she could have addressed the issue while keeping the vibe going, but her eye roll immediately made her an idiot. I think it would have even been fine for you to politely cut dinner short and get everything to go, depending on where you were in the meal. However, your comment suggests that perhaps she was right after all, and even if she wasn't, there's no way she'd come to any other conclusion based on what you said. You're the idiot. Not for going halfsies though. I think it's kind of weird that the comment "I hope just because you're buying dinner you don't expect me to sleep with you" was enough to turn you off. That kind of suggests that that was exactly what you were expecting. Your post seems to indicate that that statement was the only reason you were put off. If you're going to date in today's day and age, you should understand what women go through and why her comment was 1. Her covering herself and trying to protect herself, and 2. Something she probably has come to expect. It's not an indictment of you, it's an indictment of the dating landscape today. If that offends you that women need to say those kind of comments, then get off dating apps.